What's up, Capstone family? Hey, so it's Friday, the 5th of April, 2024. I hope you're having an amazing week. We had some rain this week, some big rain this week. I had a flipping leak at my house. Let me tell you how that feels when you've got solar and you've got to deal with a contractor that's not one that we work with on a regular basis, right? I would have loved that, unfortunately. But the solar company is doing us a solid, so I do appreciate them. If you have recommendations or questions on who I'd recommend for solar, I am more than happy to give that to you offline. But hey, let's jump into a couple of things. So I learned a lot this week from a lunch and learn that I went to. My buddy Pete, he puts on, I call him my buddy Pete, but so my friend Pete is doing some investment stuff. And for those of you that have asked about alternative investments and different cool things that people are doing in this market right now, the space that I've stayed in for investing has always been very, very, very traditional and very, very boring, right? Like I feel I do it really well, but it's pretty boring. Like it gets the job done, but sometimes you just want to get it a little sexier. Like, and in this case, Pete does it sexier. And I think what he did this week was he brought in a group of his investors and he said, hey, I'm going to sit you down with a gentleman. His name is JP Dada. JP is the founder of a alternative asset IRA company, right? I think that's what they're called. Basically, what they do is it's called Vantage IRA, VantageIRA.com, and it's an alternative class type of investment company using self-directed IRAs. And it was amazing. Like I've been in real estate for a long time, so I always look through the lens of real estate being like the best alternative for investing. And I'm very, 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 very partial. So my exploration into other places is a little more limited than others and biased, right? Because again, I think we go to that path of least resistance. We go to what we know. We stick with what we know, and when it works, why mess with it? Well, in this case, this ties into what we're doing, which I loved. So with Vantage IRA or any of these self-directed IRAs, the key, and we actually work with some owners that have self-directed IRAs, and the IRA, essentially acquires the asset, the property, and the property is then managed by a company like ours. The owner still has, say in what's happening at the property, and they can help making decisions. There's just not much can really touch their hands, right? It all has to go through these separate entities, similar to what Vantage is doing, which is really, really cool. JP discussed the fees associated with it, which to me seemed reasonable, right? They talked a little bit about the pros and the cons, which I loved because, in those situations, you just don't know what you don't know. But at the end of the day, for those of us that have IRAs that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, if we see that there's going to be a shift in the market or a downturn in stocks and bonds and all of that good stuff, and we think that there's a better play in the alternative investments, this may be a good idea to consider. So if you do have questions or you'd like an introduction, I'd be more than happy to do so. Again, I haven't used them personally, but I do know those that have, and they've got an amazing reputation, and they're here local, which is fun. And we know JP, so it's kind of cool. So with that, let me give you just a couple of takeaways that I got from that really fast. One of the things that I loved hearing, so you're basically funding this IRA with whatever other IRA you have, or maybe 401k that was with a company, you leave the company and now you're going to take that and divest it and put it into something else. It's that IRA. You put this into that self-directed IRA. That IRA then buys the real estate. So what ends up happening there is you've got to be able to fund the IRA with IRA money, and the restrictions for funding is straight up the same it's going to be for any other IRA. So if the money isn't coming in, it's not like I can go and dump a bunch of money into this self-directed IRA and expect that I'm going to be able to use it like I should. You can't. You've got to fund it over time like you traditionally would, and then use it down the road. So understood. Now I get it. Also, one of the things I loved hearing was the 1031 exchange is no longer a thing, right? Because ultimately, if you sell a property in a self-directed IRA, that money's going right back to the IRA. It's all tax-free. It's all whatever, how it gets handled through the IRA. And then you're going to go and buy another one with it, right? There's no tax on that. There's no tax on the gain, which is amazing. So I thought that was super cool because that was just a piece of it that I didn't really think about. So it can be a very fluid type of IRA and something that you're directing. The things that you can't buy with it, life insurance and collectibles. So for those of you wanting to, pick up the next Beanie Baby collection, that's not going to be it. That wasn't a good joke, was it? I thought that was going to be funny. In my mind, it played out totally differently. So my bad. All right, cool. Then let's talk quickly about the market. So if you want an intro on that end, I'd be more than happy to help. House prices right now, things are selling. What's working in the market on the sale side? Staging. Make sure you're staging your properties. What else is working? Knowing where you should be priced and knowing what your competition is. So what does that mean? Right now, new builds are 16% higher in Maricopa County than they were last year for sales here in the Valley. New builds are a really, really attractive option for buyers that are between that 400 and 700K number because you're able to offer all of these great incentives that you just can't get on resale properties. So right now, 10% of the market on the sales side here in the Valley is being made up of new builds, and definitely something to consider when you're putting your house on the market for sale. As on the rental side, we're seeing some stability on the rental rates, but I do expect that we're going to see continue to see a little bit of an uptick as we go into the summer. We've got a couple of municipalities that are starting to pick up a little bit, which is great. And this month, we talked about it today, we've got a leasing. Our leasing has been looking like this year. And right now we're riding a high this month. So this is a strong month for leasing. Last month seemed a little bit down. It's month to month right now. And again, all of the things being equal, it's just interesting. It's an interesting space. Cool. I appreciate you watching. If there's anything I can answer, if you'd like to jump on a call and talk through numbers or talk through strategy or anything like that, I love hearing about what awesome things people are doing or contemplating. I think it's always wise to include the conversations when you're making decisions about real estate with your accountant or tax advisor, because again, there's only so much that we can learn from the decisions of maybe trusted advisor in property management or real estate or someone else that maybe knows IRAs, but again, someone that really doesn't know what questions to ask could lead you the wrong direction without talking to the right people so you don't get yourself into some serious hot water, especially when it comes to taxes. So keep on keeping on. I appreciate you watching. This is an interesting year so far in Phoenix real estate. It's been amazing so far at Capstone. We've got a lot of good things cooking behind the scenes. We're going to start making sure that you all really know who you're working with here, and we appreciate you. Thanks.